Welcome to an extraordinary edition of Croc Talk with Chris Croc. Breaking news. We did it. Principal Tiffany Doolan, the disgraced principal of Wylie East High School, who 2 years in a row wore a hijab and said how awesome it was. The third year on the same day, she has professional Islamic proselytizers that go into the school. Now, this district never answered if she allowed them in, but multiple students, including Marco Hunter Lopez, we're going to talk in 1 second to him live here on the phone, and his dad, Marcos. Marco witnessed, along with other students, Principal Tiffany Doolan looking on as the Hijabs, Qurans, and Sharia pamphlets were passed out inside of Wylie East High School. She has resigned. Disgraced former Wylie East principal has resigned. Months and months and months of hard work for Marco, Marcos, Kyle, Katie, Sims, and I, the four musketeers. And before we go to Marco Hunter Lopez in a second, this show is brought to you by IRSPROB.com, IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Strap your seatbelt on. Here we go. Marco Hunter Lopez, the star for the past several months. How do you feel, sir? Well, first of all, you're heading over to the Paxton Watch Party, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm heading over. Today's a runoff election, so we're excited to see some excellent results come out.
Excellent, young man. And so I am extraordinarily proud of you for what you did. And let me put you up on the screen so folks can see exactly what I'm talking about, who you are, etc. So there we go. So, Marco, how many months, how much effort went into getting the disgraced principal of Wylie East, Tiffany Doolan, wearing the hijab, and for 2 years in a row, then overlooking these Islamic proselytizers, passing out the Qurans, hijabs, and Sharia pamphlets? How long has this journey been? How difficult has it been?
I mean, starting last year on August 16th of 2024, 2 years ago, starting the Republican Club and seeing the double standard that we faced, it's been a battle since that day. But it's been we've gone out to every school board meeting. We've had strong patriots show up more and more, speaking out, more teachers, more parents, more students coming up to me in school, saying how they support us behind the shadows because they know that they're going to get the flack and the heat. But we have a lot of support, and obviously, today was liberation.
It's unbelievable, Marco. Your hard work literally led to Principal Tiffany Doolan resigning today. Let's read this letter, and I want to get your take on this. This is incredible. Here is the letter from Principal Tiffany Doolan that was just released. You were the first person to call me and tell me that she indeed, the disgraced former principal, has left the building. I'm going to read this to you, and then I want to hear your reaction and all sorts of stuff. This is unbelievable. It's an amazing day. Raider Nation family, this is a difficult and bittersweet letter to write. Today I share with Dr. Spicer, the superintendent, of course, my decision to resign as principal of Wylie East High School, and she has a son who's a junior, and she's been there for 6 years. There's no way she would want to leave. You and your dad believe that you believe this was most likely either you resign or you're going to get fired thing. Is that what you guys believe, just from your own thoughts?
Yes, I mean, that's what one would assume with all the evidence presented.
Over the last several weeks, I've spent a lot of time praying and reflecting. She was probably praying to Muhammad and to Allah, as she was proselytizing so heavily for 3 years in a row for Muslims, for children like you to convert. They tried to convert you. They passed out a Quran to you inside of the school with a Shahada card that showed how to pray to receive Muhammad and Allah. And they told you don't need Jesus, right? These adult Muslim professional proselytizers?
Yes, they were there. They tried to, commit dawah and convert us, but I have a strong faith in Jesus Christ, and I know he's the way, the truth, and the life, and only way to the Father.
And so let's continue on. So she says, over the last several weeks, I've spent a lot of time praying and reflecting about what's best for my family. Ultimately, I've decided it's the best decision for us to resign. That is, I've thought about what I wanted to say in this letter. I kept coming back to gratitude. Let's continue on. It's an important chapter of their lives, trusted part of their high school experience. I know schools aren't perfect. It goes on and on. I'm showing different pieces of the letter for folks to be able to look themselves at it. But really, it's just basically it's a swan song. I'm out. I am resigning. I prayed a lot, and that's kind of it. Am I really missing anything from the context of the letter?
Yes, and something that sticks out is she says that every decision that she's ever made is rooted in care for students and what she believes is best for kids. She obviously believed that the Islamic proselytizing was best for the students of Wylie East, and there's a reason that she's stepping down. Whether it's the conscience that she has, or all the flack, or and people were speaking up, and I think that she is still doubled down and saying that she thought what she does is best for the children, but obviously it's not because the parents don't think.
Yeah, so her actions, she was overlooking the professional Muslim proselytizers passing out the Quran's hijabs and Sharia pamphlets. So you're saying she says I have the best intentions for the children, and so she giving them the best would be, as you said, converting them to Islam by her actions.
Correct. Obviously we have the photos of her in the past 2 years wearing the hijab and promoting on social media, all caps, quote, "I loved this experience." And, this year with the 4 adult Muslim proselytizers from an organization connected to dangerous and terroristic organizations. And she was looking on and perfectly fine with it.
Yes, we see that right there on the lower left part of our screen. The beauty of wearing a hijab on World Hijab Day. I loved this experience. All caps, loved it. And there she is 2 years in a row. And so the third year is when these professional proselytizers were allowed to come out. And that's exactly what we saw there, Marco. So now that we know this, you told me, you and your dad, and we'll talk to your dad in just a second, you told me, and literally, like, after you got about a sentence in, I just screamed. I screamed. I couldn't believe it. What was it like for you to find out that your principal resigned after the disgraceful behavior 3 years in a row with Islamic proselytizers and Islamic school stuff at school?
Yes. Obviously it's shocking, but it's also not. I mean, I was expecting this to come out either way. The sad part is the professional right thing to be done is the school board taking action, but it had to be her resigning. But this is, like I said, it's liberation. You wouldn't believe countless of students have reached out to me saying that this is, the next great step for our school because they know how we were hindered.
It's just unbelievable. So how much hard work went into this? How many months has gone into this? I mean, I joined with you guys in February. That's when we became fast friends, me, you, your dad, and Kyle Katie Sims, who we're going to talk to next. How hard was this, and how many months of hard work and showing up at school board meetings was this?
Yes, like I said, the battle has been happening behind the scenes since 2 years ago, but this really became public in February when the organization went on campus. And, it's been a lot of hard work. All the school board meetings, all the discussions with people that agree, the people that disagree, great people in the community that are wanting action, going to DC, testifying, talking to Congressman Chip Roy, talking to Congressman Keith Self. All this elected officials have been behind us, going on all the programs, the Will Kane Show. All this has culminated. And, today is just, it's been a lot of hard work, but something happened today that's meaningful.
Look at these beautiful pictures of your friends and you with Bibles in all your hands, and with Joel I can't remember his name now. It's Joel Sparenberg, I believe is his name, if I'm not mistaken, who was there and brought a couple hundred Bibles that we would have ran out otherwise. And you can see him, you can see us, what joy we had, what fun we had. It was just unbelievable what took place. And I'm showing a picture also of the night before at the Wylie ISD school board meeting with all of us there. It's just incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Anything else you want to say about what it's like now after months and months of trying to push back and get this principal held to account? I mean, I was shocked. This board seemed locked in. They would never want to harm her. They wanted to protect her, it seemed. They wouldn't listen.
Yes.
Months and months and months. And by the way, what's your reaction to that? Then one more question, then we'll talk to your dad.
Yes, obviously, I mean, like I said, her resigning is not the same as the school board taking accountability, so that's still the sad part. And I feel like they're disconnected from the community. But this is something that has been in the making. This is something that needs to happen, that needed to happen. I mean, I'm seeing comments right now from supporters saying that they're excited to hear this because, like I said, I keep saying it, it's liberation, because students like me that are conservative and that have Christian values were hindered, and now we are free, and we were always free in the first place. But when we have someone running the school that we know is completely against us and for something completely antithetical to our beliefs, that's a sad thing. But we'll see who the next principal is. We'll see what the next steps are going to be taken. We just need to pray that all the decisions are made with wise discernment.
Do you think that if we weren't showing up every month speaking, us four Musketeers, you, your dad, Kyle Sims, and me, if we weren't showing up there with all the other Patriots showing up, that this would have been this she would have resigned?
No, we all have our different styles. We all speak differently. We all, have different points. But at the end of the day, we kept pushing. We kept pushing. We kept pushing. And this is what we've seen throughout history. When you keep pushing, results will happen. I believe it was President John Quincy Adams said, action is up to us, but results are up to God. So, we kept praying for things to happen, and obviously they did now. So we're thanking God.
That goes to Mark Batterson's book, Praying Circles. You work like it depends on you, and then you pray like it depends on God. That's checking both boxes. And then do you think, it seemed to me, I'm going to show coverage from Fox News. I'm showing right now on Sunday of what we did, our rally, passing out Bibles, and then I'm going to show the other one from the New York Post. Do you think that this was kind of the final nail in the coffin, where the pressure was so great she was a national disgrace for what she did? What do you think was the final straw? Or do you think the board just told her, you have to resign or we're going to fire you regardless, based on all the stuff? I feel the woman had to have violated the constitutional rights of students and had to have broken the law by allowing this to happen. Go ahead.
Yes, a lot has happened. A lot, laws and policies and things in such matter have been broken, were broken. But like I said, this has happened and this was ordained. The final, nail in the coffin could have been me going to Congress. It could have been the parents speaking up. It could have been, the reality that this lie that Wylie supports her, overwhelmingly. There's people, so many. I go to so many parties and so many, events with friends, with, schoolmates. You wouldn't believe how many parents are like, we support you guys 100%, but it's hard to come out in the community when you're, involved. I've just had that brave conviction to really step up and take those arrows in my back, but I'm fine with it because I know at the end of the day, I'm doing the Lord's work.
This is making you your parents have done a masterful job of raising you. And the fact that you were on that stage and you performed and you, as I say, whooped Jamie Raskin's ass, a man who's a constitutional, professor or something like that. And it was just unbelievable what you did. You have been made for this. You have been made for this. And you do plan on running for Congress. And I will vote for you, my friend. You have my endorsement even now. Just don't get in trouble between now and then, okay?
I don't plan on it. Well, what is it? Thomas Jefferson said, a little rebellion here and then gets something done. So.
There you go. Marco, congratulations on this victory, this sweet victory. The principal, the disgraced former principal of Wylie, she resigned today for the Islamization of the schools. Can I talk to Dad real fast, Marcos, please, if possible?
Yes, here you go.
All right.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Dad. How are you?
I think this is one down and thousands more to go.
Yes.
The way that I feel is our school board was very unprofessional. As of the last couple of weeks, we've seen them where they've been very vocal on social media. At the end of the day, I do like the results today, but I'm not sure. I think we're getting in the right direction right now.
What do you think? What do you think, Dad? Do you think this would have happened if you, me, Kyle, Katie Sims, and your son Marco weren't showing up every month after month since February? That this resignation would have happened today?
I agree with you 110%. I will say also thank you, and you know who you are. People who spoke the truth on social media. People who also spread the word and was a voice to the voiceless, especially for the Republican Student Club.
You know what's incredible, though, and I'm so proud to say that with any money left over from donations for the Bibles is going to Marco's Republican Club to help them and to grow them. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing that we were able to help with that, thanks to the donations of generous people. Weren't you getting also a lot of attacks from people that just despise what we've been doing, trolls and stuff, such?
Trolls are always going to be there. That's why they hide behind the keyboard.
Yeah.
But I will say the school board, this last school board meeting showed exactly what the public and everybody in the community actually meant. You saw there was about 15 to 20 people who spoke out, spoke the truth, and we saw results today.
A couple other questions. What was your reaction? You and Marco read that letter to me. I was sitting over at Prestonwood Church in their parking lot. I'm a member of First Dallas, but it's okay. We're kind of kissing cousins or whatever they call it, sis, or whatever. I don't know, in-laws or something. I don't know. So, but my point being is, I was sitting there and you guys called me. I was driving around the lot and I could not believe what I was hearing. And I just screamed at some point, when it was like a half sentence in, that Principal Tiffany Doolan at Wylie East High School, who allowed the Islamization and the Qurans, hijabs, and Sharia pamphlets to be passed out, is in fact resigning. What was your reaction? I mean, how did you get this, and what was your reaction?
I did have to read it a couple times to make sure that I was reading what I was reading. But I will say, at the end of the day, if everybody actually gave Marco or his Republican student club the fair opportunity, just like everywhere else, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And what message do you have to other parents or students who could be experiencing something like this? A principal who is hostile to Republicans, a principal who brings Islam into the school, trying to get people to convert to Muhammad, to Islam, and to receive Muhammad and Allah as their savior. What is your message to other parents about what can be done, and how to fight back, and how to get victory like we have today with her disgraceful resignation?
Yes, don't wait until something happens to you. Make sure you attend your city council meetings and also your school board meetings every single month. Even if you're busy, we all get busy. Please show up and make sure you know what's going on.
Do you think the last straw were these articles that came out in coverage from Fox Digital? I'm going to show that to the folks I'm talking about. Do you think here's the New York Post covering it: outrage over Qurans and hijabs at Texas school fuels Bible revival outside of school gates, which is just a beautiful thing to see, and to think that was us. And then here it is over in Fox News as well, and they called the school. They called the school and they got a comment, and they called Principal Tiffany Doolan, and she wouldn't respond. Do you think this was kind of like the final nail in the coffin, or do you think it was more of a culmination? I mean, I know we don't know for sure. And do you think the school board told her, resign or we're going to fire you?
I just think it's very shocking that the school board on social media is now, trying to put their 2 cents. All we've asked for is some accountability and some transparency. Their main talking point was that they couldn't disclose what they were doing. At the end of the day, true colors always come out. And there was only once that I heard the president speak out and respond to somebody at the school board meeting. Other than that, there was no transparency and there was no accountability.
Any final thoughts, Dad? I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm honored because you had the 3 Musketeers, you, your son, and Kyle Katie Sims, and now you guys honorarily, you made me a fourth Musketeer, which is an incredible honor. I mean that, too. It's been so amazing to befriend you guys, to work with you guys, to help you guys, and I was telling my wife, it's exposed a whole new, I'm connecting deep with some people in Plano to fight anti-Semitism in Plano ISD. This is how things get done. And this is how mountains can move. Do you have any final thoughts? And I had one more question about Tiffany Doolan next, but do you have any final thoughts?
It is a big old pill to swallow, but we got to continue, and we will see the school board trustees this month, or I believe June 15th, I believe, is the next one. So we'll see them there.
Now that Tiffany Doolan has resigned, this is my last question. I think it's going to be very hard for her to get her next job, unless it's in California, for example, which I think Marco said, or somebody else
We lost you.
Oh, you lost me? You got me now? Hold on 1 second. You got me now? Can you hear me? You got me or no? Hello, hello? I don't know if the phone went down or what. Can you guys hear me? Okay, we lost him. All right. Well, I'll say this. If he calls back, I'll put him right back on. Yeah, it's him. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Hey, guys, one more quick question for Dad, okay?
Okay,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So, with Tiffany Doolan resigning today, I think it's going to be. And I know we don't. You and I, as Christians or just decent people, we don't want to, kick somebody while they're down. It's victory. She needed to resign. She clearly violated, in my humble opinion, the Constitution. She was a constitutional violation by trying to brainwash children into Islam in the school. And number two, it has to be illegal what she did as well. I mean, this is clearly over the top, fireable offense. I think it's going to be hard for her to get a job. I'm not kicking her when she's down, but I'm saying I think it's going to be very hard for her to get a job. Because would you want to hire a principal anywhere? You Google her, they're going to Google her name, and they're going to see she literally was allowing this to happen in her school. I think it's going to be hard for her to get a job. Any thoughts on that? Again, not to kick her while she's down, but just your thoughts on that.
The way that I've always said to anyone who actually has heard me and not just try to pick my brains, people that have known who I am, I'm not here to say that I disliked her. Tiffany Doolan made a mistake, and she had to either be fired or be held accountable by resigning. And that was based on the facts of February 2nd.
Absolutely, where the professional Islamic proselytizers were allowed into the school and to try to convert people into Islam, which is just unthinkable. Marcos Lopez, and to your son, Marcos, by the way, your son is amazing. I mean,
it's people like you, people, true patriots, and you know who you are. Like I said, people who responded on our behalf that actually listen to a 15 or 16-year-old kid, what's going on. I appreciate everything that y'all did, because I want you to take that grain of salt that made it a big old bag, and now we're sitting here having good news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to show one more picture, and then before we let you go, I promise, I'm going to show you looking over your son while he was testifying in front of Congress. And I said it before, this man on the right with the handlebar mustache is who he and his wife are, who made this young man who he is in the foreground here. This young man would not be where he's at, would not be as amazing of a young man and a powerful speaker and a very, true gentleman who loves God without that man over his shoulder there, and the mother, who Mrs. Lopez, who's not in the picture. God bless you guys. Godspeed, and I'm just so proud of you for everything you've done with your son, and that this victory is very sweet that the principal has resigned today from Wylie East. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon, and go Paxton, right?
Yes.
I voted twice. I went to the Democrat aisle. I voted twice for Paxton.
Oh, man. You didn't bring your dead grandma with you?
I was wheeling her, and I wheeled her. I went. You know what's funny? Because you know how you go to the Republican or the Democrat side. So I went to the Republican side, obviously, and I was voting. And I joked about it when I pulled up. I came up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to vote twice, right? And then stuff like that. And what was great was they said yes, but you're in the wrong section. You got to go to the other one, the Democrats, where you want to vote twice. That's having fun. That is having fun. Thank you guys. Love you very much, and talk to you soon. Okay. Have a good time.
Yes,
tonight.
sir. God bless.
God bless you, brother. Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, now we're going to call the other one of the other four Musketeers. We just talked to two of them. I'm one of them, which is an incredible honor. Kyle K.D. Sims. I'm going to call him now, and hopefully he will be able to find me or pick up the phone, because it's he was inside of the Paxton event as well. So let's just call him and see if he's going to pick up. He's been doing yeoman's work waiting for me. I don't know if he's still available, or if he's inside of the big Ken Paxton party tonight, which I'd love to go, but I have a podcast to do. Kyle's an important piece of the puzzle. If I can get him on the phone.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
I'll just tell him to call me. Here we go. Call me to come on air. And then we're going to do some other stuff too, by the way, to come on the air. My video link connections, it's just the video stuff is so heavy with software and stuff, so I have to have somebody fix it for me, because I pushed a couple buttons and so we just do phones until Thursday. I'm going to get this fixed up, just so you know, for what it's worth. We'll see if he can call, because he's an important part of this. He went through a lot of crap. He says, and he's told the story on this podcast, Kyle Katie Sims, one of the Four Musketeers, that is responsible for the disgraced Wylie East High School principal Tiffany Doolan for resigning today. It's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. I mean, we were prepared to keep going meeting after meeting after meeting. We went to February, March, April, and May. We went to 4 school board meetings in a row. And look at all the patriots who came out on Monday, literally last Monday, the day before we did our Bibles, Not Qurans event. Here's the people that came out, in addition to Marcos, and Kyle Katie Sims. If I can pull a picture up, here it is. Look at this beautiful picture. Now, a couple people are in here that were blurred out because they didn't want their faces public, which is fine. But these are all the people, and I'm in there somewhere in the kind of in the middle to the left. These are all the people that showed up and spoke and or just were at the school board meeting on Monday night, the day before our Bibles, Not Qurans event. And we passed out about 300 Bibles. And the students went in with hands full, and they can pass it out in the school. It's lawful for student-led faith stuff, but not for, obviously, adults. Unless you're Islamic and you're in Wylie East, then everything's allowed to get you to become a Muslim, as we learned. And here's, if you're just joining us, this is the letter that Principal Tiffany Doolan released today, when giving notice of her resignation. Raider Nation family, this is a difficult and bittersweet letter to write. Today I shared with Dr. Spicer, that's the superintendent of Wylie ISD, my decision to resign as principal of Wylie East High School. This is so big. So big. This must be an encouragement to you. We did it. We absolutely did it. So she says over the last several weeks I've been spent a lot of time praying and reflecting. Perhaps she's praying to Muhammad in the reflecting about what is best for her family. Ultimately, I decided this is the best decision for us. So what this is persistence, being present, showing up, and speaking out works. It works. The school board was attacked. Here we go. Here's Kyle. This is great. Hey, Kyle, you're on the air. How are you?
I'm good, brother. Just
Good.
The Paxton Watch event.
I know. I love that. I voted twice for Ken today, of course, because I went in the Democrat aisle, got a Republican ballot and voted twice. I knew they wouldn't care because it's Democrats, right?
Oh man, I'm gonna report you now.
Let me show folks. Here's a picture of good old Kyle Katie Sims, a man that I'm glad he's on our side. I wouldn't want to mess with you, sir. I'm going to put up your there's your little name tag. You are one of the Four Musketeers. Tell me, how did you feel when you found out that Tiffany Doolan resigned today, the principal of Wylie East, who allowed these Islamic proselytizers to come in and pass out Bibles, Qurans, and hijabs? What did you feel like when you heard this?
Well, the first thing I felt is, why did it take so long for it to happen?
Right.
You know, all the hell that Marco has gone through for his group, and the pulling the posters off the walls, and not letting guests in without going through a rigorous process. But then 4 people come into a school and hand out Qurans, Hijabs, and Sharia law pamphlets, and all we do is we put somebody on leave in the front office for a couple of days, which I don't even know if I agree with that, because the buck stops with the principal.
Yeah, and the principal, as we heard from students, was literally overwatching this, overlooking the proselytizers trying to convert people to Islam. She was literally there, is according to Marco and multiple students that I spoke to.
Well, and it's, as I said before, it shows a pattern of what happened to my wife and I, plus what happened to Marco, plus what was allowed to happen inside the school. And it's really ironic to me that nobody showed up at our Bible event and said, man, I would love that y'all are handing out Bibles.
Yeah, see, this is why I knew I should have you on for multiple reasons, because you're one of the 4 people that made this all happen, right? You were critical entity of the 4 Musketeers, but I knew you'd bring up some other really important points. So let's go to that. Let me go to the picture of her, now former principal Tiffany Doolan, disgraced former principal of Wylie East. On the lower left, it says right there, yesterday our Muslim Student Association created an opportunity for everyone to experience the beauty of wearing a hijab on World Hijab Day, ! I loved, all caps, this experience, ! She loves putting hijab on, which you can get killed if you don't wear one if you're in Iran, for example. So there's 2 pictures, 2 years in a row she did this on World Hijab Day. The third year is when the Islamic proselytizers came in and passed out the Qurans, hijabs, and Sharia pamphlets while she overlooked it. So this clearly, like you said, was a pattern from her, huh?
Well, it was. And, what's really sad is how many people came after me and y'all, all of us, for handing out Bibles on a public sidewalk. Where was that outrage when all this stuff was handed out in the school, especially the Sharia law pamphlets that is not compatible with our constitutions? Where was the outrage then?
So as you hit on a little earlier, the principal didn't come out and take pictures with us holding Bibles and say she loved it, all caps. She hid inside of her school and did not come out like a crab in its hole, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
And we, like you said, there was about a dozen or so useful idiots on the other side protesting as students, and they were protesting. They said, "Keep religion out of the schools," and we're preaching hate. We're doing hate. And it's funny because they didn't protest the Islamists inside of the school passing out Qurans, did they?
No, they didn't. And here's what shows the difference in character. So we got word that there was one person on our side that was yelling some pretty bad stuff at those protesters. And what did we do? We did the right thing. We took the video down till we get edits done, and then we'll put it back up. But the fact remains, we have character, and we didn't what every human should have done is we took it down. That's how you do stuff the right way.
Yeah, if somebody says something stupid, you get them out of there. Let's do this too. I wanted to ask you, how did you first meet Marco and his dad, and what made you want to help them and work with them?
I had met them at a couple of Republican events, and the day this happened, Marco come and found me at Collin County College. It was a GOP executive meeting of all the precinct chairs in McKinney. Mm-hmm. And he called me and asked me where I was, and I told him. And a few minutes later, he comes and gets me out of the room and says, "Can you come out here and talk?" And that's when we cut the video of him showing what happened earlier that day in the school. And man, I just latched onto it because first, I'm an American, and second, I have Christian values, and third, what in the hell was anybody thinking that was okay to do that in the school? And that's when I said, you know what, we've got to fight for what our values are based on, what our state expects us to do, and that's why we stepped up.
So you literally met Marco Hunter Lopez and his father right after this happened in February, that when they passed out the hijabs and Qurans?
No, I had met him before, but that's when it really kicked into high gears, when he come and got me out of that meeting and says, and I asked him, I said, "Are you willing to go live with this?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Let's do it."
And that's
we need to bring attention to this.
And that's what got that viral video that we all saw. I didn't know you or Marco or his Marcos, but I literally did not believe that video was authentic. I just couldn't believe it would be true.
A lot of people didn't.
I waited till the next day to make sure there was something corroborating, because I'm like, this cannot be real. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how horrible this was. What's your response? So how do you feel about Tiffany Doolan being gone as of today, resigning? And do you think the school district forced her out, but she was given the option to resign? Because that's what it seems like a lot of people think.
My personal opinion was I think the heat was picking up big time. This thing's gone national on several different fronts. And or did they ask her to do it, or did she willingly do it? I really don't know. I don't know, but I think for the district to move forward, that it was something that probably needed to happen.
Right. Yeah, we're showing the Fox News and the New York Post video. Yeah, this was just a bridge too far, I think. I mean, it was shocking that she hadn't been fired yet at all.
Well, there was no apology, and like I say, it really showed the true colors, in my opinion, of why didn't somebody come out and say, "We love the fact y'all are showing both sides, you're passing out Bibles." Where was anybody at that time? We didn't see anybody.
You know what? That's an amazing statement once again, Kyle. Where was the school district to come out and say, "Thank you for doing this. We're glad you're here"?
Yeah, aren't we being inclusive when we do that? Aren't we showing that there's another side to the story?
Yeah.
So where's the inclusiveness?
Two things. I want to get to the story with you and Tiffany Doolan and her husband. and your wife, something happened. Before we do that, I think it's going to be very hard for Tiffany Doolan to get a job because before anybody hires her, I'm not trying to be nasty about it. With her, she resigned. She did the right thing before she was probably going to be fired. Speculation, but that's what I think. But I think it's going to be hard for her to get a job because they're going to Google, obviously, before they consider her, and they're going to see that she allowed this to happen. I think it's a bad mark for her to deal with for her career.
I would say it's probably going to depend on the district, because what we're seeing in Texas is a lot of these small towns are being transformed right before our eyes. And, we talked about this before, Chris, that there's so much complacency in our state when it comes to public education that there's a lot of people that just don't pay attention.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Now, let's talk about what happened. There was a school board meeting you were at, and some man, I don't think you knew who he was. Maybe you did. You'll tell the story. But some man, you go to a school board meeting, you're with your wife. Some man is looking all cocky at you, and you'll correct my story. Some man is looking all cocky at you, and then he flips off your wife or something. Tell me how that went down, and what was the context? What were you doing there at the school board meeting? Why were you there, and what happened?
This was the first meeting I spoke at back in September when Marco made the comments he was having trouble getting his Republicans club started, and asked me if I would come support him, and I said absolutely. So we walk into the boardroom. The board's not in there yet. It's just people that have come to the meeting. There's a guy sitting in the back row. So I walked past him, and I heard somebody say, "Hey, Kyle Sims." And I turned around and said, "Dude, I don't know you." And he said, "Yeah, you do. You chased my wife and my child across Wylie's parking lot earlier today." And I said, "You've lost your damn mind. I've never been to Wylie's high school and don't know who you are." So I proceeded to go sit down in the front row where I can film. And my wife asked me, what was that all about? And I told her. She turns around to look at him, and he shoots her the middle finger on his cheek while he's grinning.
Like a little child.
Like a little child. Well, when I heard that, I got up, and I went to him and addressed him and said, "Don't you ever disrespect my wife like that again." Well, then security walks up, and there was another principal in there, and they basically asked me what happened. I told them, and I said, "Y'all need to get his ass out of here." And a few minutes later, he was taken out, and I never saw him again.
So that's Tiffany Doolan's wife. He falsely accused her husband. Yeah, thanks. It's he falsely accused you of chasing her husband, Tiffany Doolan, the principal, now disgraced former principal of Wylie East, and their son in a parking lot, which you said you never did. So, and then he flipped your wife off over it.
That is correct. And I talked to the district head of security the next day and told him, it was the next day or 2 days later, that I found out who this was. And I could have perceived this, because that's a very, very bad threat made towards me, and an accusation that I had no idea what he was talking about, but he did it because obviously he had been trolling me. I would assume on social media. He showed up to try to get me kicked out of the meeting where I couldn't speak, but that didn't work in his favor.
Yes. Now let me ask you a few other things too. What is your have you been getting a lot of attacks? I mean, you've been covering this. You, me, and Marco and Marcos, Hunter Lopez, Marco and his dad, Marcos.
Absolutely.
Us four of the Four Musketeers. We've been working together. Tell me the kind of attacks you've been getting ever since we had our Bibles Not Korans event, and perhaps before, when you've been speaking out and calling out the principal, how she needed to be reprimanded or fired, whatever, right?
Well, there's a lot of chatter going on my feeds, but the one that I got a couple of days ago was, "You basically need to be hung." So, these idiots have no common sense. They have no character, and whatever threats they want to bring towards me, bring it.
And who are these people? Are they Wylie ISD parents?
This one I haven't tracked down yet. I don't know yet, but I've got a public page. I don't hide anything. I think my character speaks for herself, and I do the right thing when I need to. But for somebody to tell me that I ought to be hung for going to a public sidewalk and handing out Bibles, seriously? I mean, is that really where we are in this country?
That's what Islamists would do to us if we were passing out Bibles in an Islamic country.
Well, and Chris, that's the hardest thing I cannot get through to people. If we went to Iran, Afghanistan, a number of countries, Saudi Arabia, everywhere, we could not do what we do in Texas we would have to adapt and assimilate to their rules.
And yet these poor, useful idiot communists were out there, these kids protesting us as if we were doing something bad and preaching hate. And they never protested the Islamic people inside passing out the Qurans and hijabs.
No.
I'm also hearing that the board is considering, or people are trying to push the board to cut off speaking, no more speaking. People like you and me couldn't speak there. Marco couldn't. Hunter Lopez couldn't speak there. His dad couldn't speak there. What are you hearing about that?
Well, I think it's a dangerous road to go down. We know of a couple of districts that have already shut down public comments unless they're on the agenda. So basically, the schools that we pay taxes to are telling us now, we need to shut y'all up to where you can't speak unless we say you can speak. What kind of tyranny are we setting forth in Texas to tell a taxpayer they can't speak at an open meeting? That's really a dangerous precedent to start setting.
Yes, and I mean, you're going to get idiots. There's going to be idiots that'll speak at these things or stunt people, but you're going to get people like us or parents and students like Marco and his dad Marcos, who speak out and expose this stuff. That was an incredible night, and let's reflect on the last week before Tiffany Doolan resigned and before we had our Bibles Not Qurans event. Let's reflect on that. The first day of this adventure was, I think, Wednesday, when Marco was allowed to testify, was called to testify about the Islamization of his schools. And there's Marco in the picture and his dad, who we talked to a few minutes ago, testifying in front of Congress. That was the first day, right? It was a miracle that was going on. The next day, Marco is then on, he was on Will Cain's show on Fox News, which is obviously just incredible for exposure, for the truth to get out there and everything. There he is on Fox News. And then the following day, he is on the Glenn Beck show. I mean, it's just remarkable. That was a Friday, right? And then, so first thing Monday, we go to the school board meeting, and here's a picture of all of us who spoke out at the school board meeting. It was amazing how many people came out and spoke out. You're in there, and all of us are in there. And then the next day is our Bibles Not Qurans event. We passed out about 300 Bibles, right?
Correct.
And excuse me. And then let's see here. 1 week. Wait. Our event was Tuesday morning last week, right?
Correct.
One week later, 1 week later, Tuesday today, Tiffany Doolan announces that she has resigned.
Well, not to mention the social media attention it got, especially by folks like U.S. Congressman Brandon Gill. I mean, this thing went nuts in about 24 hours.
You know what else I forgot to mention? In between Friday and Monday of last week. Well, then this would be Sunday. The other day here, 2 days ago, Fox News and the New York Post cover it as well. So I mean, now it's national across the board. The New York Post is the second most subscribed to paper in the country, in the U.S. So, I mean, and Fox News is the most watched news network in America. So, you cannot get more nails in the coffin, as far as I'm concerned. What do you think was the last straw that forced them to say you're out? You and I and Marco and Marcos believe that she was forced out and was given the chance to resign first. We don't know, but what do you think was the last straw, or do you think it was the culmination?
I think they're trying to calm down the temperature a little bit and get the spotlight off of them personally, but I could be wrong.
And Kyle, do you remember what the Wylie East response was? What, as a school district, once you and Marco cut that video that said it all, that he showed the Quran, the hijab, and the Understanding Sharia pamphlets and the Why Islam bag that he was given in school, starting this whole thing. So that kicked it off, but I mean, it's just been incredible. It's been incredible.
It has been incredible. And, if nothing else, I hope that it's made people pay attention that we need to get back to basic education in the schools. We need to teach these kids where they can read, write, do math, and everything else they need to do to succeed in life, and stop all this other crap that's going on. I mean, why in the world do we have kids failing in school, but yet we're okay with the Quran and hijab and Sharia law pamphlets being handed out? I mean, it's incredible.
It is. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it happens. And people's jaws drop when they see that it's that it happened in Texas too. They really do, and I mean, it's the last place you would think this would be happening. What is your message? What is your message to other parents or students who might be going through something that they feel is kind of similar with, and they're up against a machine that won't bow, won't bend, I should say, or won't work with the parents or the students?
Well, we have to start speaking up, and I have a lot of parents that have been emailing and calling and texting and messaging me since all this started happening, even with other districts. And I tell people, I understand that you may be afraid you're going to get canceled, but there's other people that will put that information out there. We've got to start being vigilant and stop being complacent. And the longer we let this stuff ride without saying anything, the worse it's going to get. So I encourage people to speak up, whether it's through yourself or speak up through somebody that will put it out there. We've got to start speaking up, and we've got to start paying attention to what's going on in our own backyard.
Kyle, Katie Sims, you are at the Ken Paxton party tonight, watch party. We know he's going to win. What is your guess about what percentage point Paxton's going to beat Cornyn tonight? I'm going to guess, I'd say 6 or 7. Probably 6.
I was going to say between 7 and 12 points.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a solid victory. Won't be in question. And I think John Cornyn has been a plane crash for about the last 3 weeks.
Well, it's a full house here already, and Paxton's not here yet, but I suspect it's going to be a really packed house. The amount of media cameras I see here are just, I've never seen this many media cameras in one spot.
You cannot, I mean, the white hot spotlight today is absolutely on Texas. And
yeah, this is the hottest race across the country right now.
Deservedly so. And by the way, I will make a little plug for myself. I will be on Newsmax tomorrow at 11:15 to talk about 11:15 a.m. to talk about the results and other stuff. So,
awesome.
Kyle, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being an ally, and thank you for being an advocate for Marco Hunter Lopez, his dad. And what an honor it is for me to be a part of your group of the Four Musketeers, my friend. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the kind of words. Let's keep this going. The job just begun.
It has just begun, and thank God for people like you. Kyle Katie Sims, thank you, my man. Have a good night.
Thanks, brother.
Go Packers.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, this whole journey has been amazing. I showed up February to speak at the Wylie ISD school board meeting about the Quran's hijabs and Sharia pamphlets passed out to students. And I befriended Kyle, I befriended Marco, Hunter Lopez, and his dad. And then we started working together and became very dangerous because we worked together and we work well together. And I could not have done the Bibles, Not Qurans event without their help. They were my right hand, left hand men. We all worked together. Everything was executed together. It is more than one person. It takes several people. And they're amazing. I thank God for them. And they are my friends. When Marco Hunter Lopez and his dad, Marcos, were driving up to D.C., or driving to go to D.C. for the testimony from the Sharia, on the Sharia law stuff in Congress, Marcos, his dad, said, "Chris, you're a friend. I consider you a friend. You're a friend. I call you friend." And I said, "Thank you. I do too. I call you friend. They're great people." Okay, want to do this real fast before I got a lot more. Did you know there's another Islamist or Islamic problem with another school's principal, pro-Sharia, pro-Palestinian, which means Hamas, and Black Lives Matter backlash from a Fort Worth ISD principal? You have to hear this. I think I have her picture somewhere in here as well. That was in the news today. I'm going to share that with you too. You can see who we're talking about coming up in just a second, if I can find my picture. Anyway, first thing I want to do is tell you that this show is brought to you by IRSprob.com. That's IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy Martin's been my CPA for almost exactly 10 years now. He's amazing. I thank God for him. And there he is winning the Longhorn 100 with his wife, beautiful wife, Norma. And then here it is almost 10 years ago with Randy, me, Ray, and George all together in a conference room. That's still his team to this day because Randy's an amazing guy, an amazing friend, a great Christian, and treats his people very, very, very well. They're friends. These guys are my friends too, by the way. So call 214-214-3000 if you have IRS problems, or maybe you have a loved one that passed away and there's tax issues, or if you just want a good tax planner. Randy Martin at IRSprob.com, IRSPROB.com, IRSPROB.com. I'll call 214-214-3000. And then also, this show is brought to you by Due West Foundation and Plumbing. Jim Dutton is my friend. He's the owner of Due West Foundation and Plumbing. And Due West has done everything in this house for plumbing and foundation for 11 years now. I didn't buy this house until Jim's company, Due West Foundation and Plumbing, checked the foundation. They tested the plumbing, and they said, yes, your house is fine. They told me my foundation was on the bubble, but if I watered it twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, year-round, guys, year-round, unless it's like below freezing, then that, and if you get root shields, which they do, they cut 3 feet down, no more roots going under your house. That'll destroy your foundation too. So they did that, and then they've also done stuff with the yard with moving a lot of dirt so that water goes away from the house. They do concrete leveling, retention walls, plumbing, and foundation, and they are the best. It's the only company I've used. They've done my water heater, my 17-foot of pipe under the house, including piers with that, because you can't take all that dirt out and put it back in without having piers to hold up the house and permanently keep it up there. So that's who they are. They're incredible. If you want the best, call Due West. Go to du-west.com. That's du-west.com, or call 972-406-0912, 972-406-0912, and tell them Chris Crock sent you. I have a roofer, Blue Ribbon Roofing. And guess who was at my house today? John Hopkins, the owner of Blue Ribbon Roofing. Guess who's getting a new roof? I am. John is freaking awesome. I'm going to tell you about BlueRibbonDFW.com coming up in a few. Let's get to this, though, first. Here's what I got next. And I had to hit the air early because of the Paxton Watch Party. And obviously the breaking news that's incredible is, if you're just joining me, Principal Tiffany Doolan, the disgraced principal who allowed and overlooked, according to multiple students, as professional adult Islamic proselytizers came into Wylie East High School, passed out Qurans, hijabs, and Sharia pamphlets. She resigned today. It is the ultimate justice for what we've been fighting for 4 months. Fox News covered it. New York Post covered it. Glenn Beck covered it with Marco Hunter Lopez. Will Cain did on Fox. In front of the U.S. Congress, he testified. We spoke and we spoke and we spoke, and we have justice today. She resigned. I urge you to go back to the beginning of this podcast and hear it all, watch it all, if you missed it. Now, I have this. New Fort Worth ISD principals, pro-Sharia, pro-Palestinian post spark a backlash. Here's what I got from a couple different folks. First, I have, and this is local reporting by a friend of my radio show in Dallas-Fort Worth when I was on for several years, Carlos Tercios. His reporting, the principal in Fort Worth ISD, Shaima Al-Zubi, is the new principal of Western Hills High School. And I want to get her picture up here. I don't know why I did not get it on on there for you. But regardless, after facing public backlash, Fort Worth is reassigning this controversial new principal. According to local reporting by Carlos Tercios, she shared pro-Palestinian content, which really means pro-Hamas, and reposted material defending what Sharia law actually means to Muslims. Here you go. Get out. Al-Zubi has expressed support for mask mandates. Can you say Marxist, leftist, radical? She has supported Black Lives Matter, positions that many families in the district oppose. What do you mean? You don't like people that pronounce sainthood on a guy who did so much fentanyl that he died from a drug overdose while in the custody of Minneapolis police, who also did put a handgun to a pregnant woman's belly and robbed her? I want a St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, statue, or statue, as Dwayne would say. I want a St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, statue, where he's got the gun, he's pointing like this, and then the woman who's pregnant, it's right on her belly, and going, ah! You know, as he put a gun to a pregnant black woman's belly to rob her. That is the statue I want in downtown Dallas. Every city needs a St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, statue, honoring his life, and have some packets of fentanyl kind of hanging out the side of his pocket while he's putting the gun to the pregnant woman's belly. Okay, where were we? In response to the inquiry about Al-Zubi's post, again, Fort Worth ISD principal at Western Hills High School, a spokesperson for Fort Worth ISD told Texas Scorecard, May 26th, Fort Worth ISD was made aware of multiple social media posts from the past by a finalist for principal position in the district. Inshallah. After the review, it was determined the post may not align with the district's social media policy and expectations for staff. If this was Wylie ISD, they would have hired it on the spot, right? It was determined that posts do not align with the district's social media policy and expectations for staff. Therefore, the candidate will be reassigned pending the outcome of an investigation. As such, the district will not comment further. Thank you, God, that the state of Texas took over the Fort Worth ISD district to not allow this radical leftist Islamist-type position from this person to be teaching our freaking children. Could you imagine? This is like Chicago. My birthplace. This is the kind of crazy stuff that happens in Chicago. Fort Worth, thank God they were taken over by the state. This would be absolutely wonderful. This would be celebrated if it was the old Fort Worth ISD. Earlier this year, the TEA took them over, as you know. I've got a few other things in here. Let's see. I have, from the Dallas Express coverage, in the earlier announcement, Fort Worth ISD said she's been named. They said that this woman, Shaima Al-Zubi, was named the new principal for Western Hills High School. Until now, we know that they are reassigning her while they investigate. Our district leaders, educators, and staff will not inject personal political perspectives into the classroom, Fort Worth ISD said. Fort Worth ISD serves a wide array of families and students that are civically engaged and maintain a variety of perspectives. As a taxpayer-funded entity, we will remain focused on our mission, providing a high-quality education. The reports sparked backlash, says Dallas Express. Screenshots circulated online show posts tied to Al-Zubi's Facebook account involving Sharia, Black Lives Matter, Marxist organization that it literally is against God's plan for the family. They do not support marriage. They do not support the father being the head of the household while the woman and husband are co-equals. They do not support that. She also loves Palestine and school mask mandates. What a Marxist communist. On January 23rd, a repost from the Texas Reporter defended Sharia and pushed back on Don't Sharia My Texas. She did. One January 23rd repost from a Texas Reporter defended Sharia and pushed back. Wow. The post described Sharia as a moral and religious framework in Islam and compared it to biblical principles for Christians and halakha and Jewish communities. Hell no. Anyway, she also has other screenshots they have of her saying Black Lives Matter, all caps, a post saying I am with Dreamers, I support DACA, and an image referencing Palestine. This is exactly the kind of woman that should never be in charge of anything, nor shouldn't even be teaching our students. Should be nowhere near our children. Here we go. We're going to get to Paxton and Cornyn and the runoff. Dallas Morning News is reporting about Angela Paxton to try to smear Ken Paxton. That is in just 1 second. The first thing, and my predictions and my encouragements on that is coming up in just a second. But first, guess who was on my roof again today? John Hopkins, the president and founder of Blue Ribbon Roofing.
See that white line?
Here we go. Listen, we have a lot of fun here. You got to see this. Here he is on my roof. And listen, this is fun.
See that white line?
Yeah, what is that?
That's the fiberglass mat underneath the shingle. Meaning all the shingle's gone. Now you're down to the fiberglass mat.
I never would have recognized any of this or noticed
Of
this.
course you wouldn't. It'd be like you handing me your microphone.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Do you want to do a show for me?
I don't know anything about it. I got to depend on you.
I think you want to. I guess I'll do the show then.
Yeah, you do the
He did it again today. He's a really funny guy, but he's incredible with his expertise. We talked in depth. So today, I'm a USAA member, and I have been for probably almost 30 years now. It's incredible. My dad told me when I was 16, you got to join that. And I'm like, who cares? I will never go back to anything but USAA. And so a USAA representative was on my roof with John Hopkins today, literally this earlier. And it's approved. My whole roof's going to be redone by BlueRibbonDFW.com, Blue Ribbon Roofing. Here are the pictures of the family. It's a family affair. Here is John Hopkins on the right. His wife Tish is there. They are the winner of McKinney, Best of McKinney year after year after year. They're A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Their ratings are through the freaking roof, almost a perfect 5 out of like 1,000 reviews on Google and other outlets. On the left here is Trevor, John and Tish's son, and then his wife Jennifer. Jennifer is the first person I ever talked to with Blue Ribbon Roofing, and she was absolutely fantastic. They are top-notch. Everything about them is top-notch. Use them. Go to BlueRibbonDFW.com, BlueRibbonDFW.com. They are the best. I am grateful for them, and they're going to do a lot of great work on my house with the hail damage and such, okay? Hail yeah is what I would say. 32 years of experience are the best. If you want the best for roofing, BlueRibbonDFW.com. Angela Paxton. Here's the headline from the Dallas Morning News to try to smear Ken Paxton today, who I voted for earlier. And I want to get into that in a second. But State Senator Angela Paxton leaves, the Dallas Morning News says. Nobody else is doing a headline. This is a hit piece on Paxton on the day of the voting. State Senator Angela Paxton leaves Senate race off list of GOP runoff endorsements. Her estranged husband, Attorney General Ken Paxton, is running against incumbent Senator John Cornyn. So there they are, trying to taunt and make a big deal out. His own ex-wife won't even vote for him or endorse him. Let me make this very, very clear. And I mention this because I think it's very important to mention this. My church is First Baptist Dallas. It has been for like 12 years now. And, excuse me, I had a little cough there. And Dr. Jeffers, with Trump, a lot of people were so angry, and they're like, how could you support Donald J. Trump and all this stuff? And what he would say is, I wouldn't vote for my son to be a Sunday school teacher, but I absolutely will vote for him to be a president because his policies are the best for a biblical Christian worldview and what our values are. And I agree. And so I use those same words to say exactly why Ken Paxton got my vote today, why I voted for him, because Ken Paxton's views, his positions are all my positions. John Cornyn is a joke. When I first got here 16 years ago, my producer at the time, who's now an Arlington ISD teacher, told me, he said, Chris, and again, this is insane. This was 16 years ago. He said, Chris, John Cornyn's a joke. I said, what do you mean? Because I didn't know anything about him. I just got here. He said, when you and I and everybody else are debating about a flashpoint serious issue today, everybody, battles it out and takes their positions and debates. He says 2 weeks later, John Cornyn is silent. 2 weeks later, he'll come out. After we've totally moved on, we're done. John Cornyn will come out. I'm checking my, here we go. We got Tarrant County runoff results from the Star Telegram. We'll see what I got from them. Okay, it's causing me a problem, so I'll move on. Anyways, I'll check real fast while we're live in real time. But where was I? 2 weeks later, John Cornyn will come out, and he'll lick his finger, stick it up at the wind, and they go, I'm taking a strong position on this. And we're like, where the hell have you been, dude? It's been 2 weeks. We already debated and decided this 2 weeks ago. And he comes out with a strong position when everybody else has already taken their positions and moved on. So that's who John Cornyn is, along with wanting to give amnesty to Dreamers, along with telling Trump he should not run, he should get out of the election for 2024. He literally said he can't win. And now he says, well, Donald Trump says that, he says I'm a fine man. He likes me. And I voted with him, 98%. And then he's doing the nasty stuff on Ken Paxton in his personal life. It's so unflattering of a look for Cornyn. It's not who he is, and he has just been a slow plane crash coming down. And then today, we'll find out at about 8:00. Bye-bye. And I'll be very happy. Ken Paxton will not win against James Tallarico by as wide of a margin as Cornyn would win. Cornyn wins a lot more. Will get a lot more votes because he's milquetoast. Sorry to check my phone. It's just in case results are coming in. John Cornyn is milquetoast, so that's why he gets more people voting for him. Ken Paxton is just like Ted Cruz, and he is irascible. They're both irascible. You know, they grate on some people. They don't grate on me. I love that they're in people's faces. I absolutely love it. And so therefore, Cruz and Paxton aren't going to get as many votes as a Cornyn would be. But that's okay. They're better for us and our policies that we like, and for me personally. So that's why Cornyn is going to win. Now, Cornyn will not win by as wide of a margin against Tallarico Paxton will not win by as wide of a margin against Tallarico as Cornyn would, but Tallarico will lose. And Tallarico will lose. Remember when Cruz phoned it in and didn't do jack squat until he realized he could lose the election to Beto? That was a 3-point spread. I think that Tallarico makes Beto look like a moderate. It's unbelievably ridiculous. You even have CBS Network News. Who's the guy's name? Ed something. He's a very aggressive reporter, but he's good. I'm gonna scroll down and see where it is. He covered this today, and it's the first known national news outlet on the mainstream media that literally showed the clips of James Tallarico saying there are 6 genders and God is non-binary. You've had idiots on CNN say that he never said that. These are the same type of idiots who said that Ted Cruz, that if Beto won, he'd be the first Hispanic senator to win, U.S. senator in Texas, when Ted Cruz was already the freaking sitting senator. These people are twits and fools. All they want to do is program us. Now, from the Dallas Morning News as well, it's decision day in Texas Senate runoff between Republicans John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton's going to win. I predict between 5 and 7 points. I'm thinking 6 or 7 points is what he's going to win by. It'll be solid. It'll be an earlier announcement, and it'll be a great day. Finally, we're ripping the Band-Aid off and getting this milquetoast guy who I've been ripping on and off for years, John Cornyn. So that's my prediction. I think Chip Roy's going to win. That's my prediction on him. And I'll leave it at that as far as the elections. Polls obviously closed 7 minutes ago. So that's what we got. And I'll check to see. I will check. We would see it on there too. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to see. Anyways, let me go real fast to a couple of different outlets to look for, just to see if we have any real-time results that might be good. And then I've got some more stuff to get into about Pizza Hut, DFW-based Pizza Hut, an announcement they made today. So let's look at a couple of our national ones, if we have any results. Texas Senate race. Let's see what we got, y'all. There's kind of nothing in Fox News. We'll check the Dallas Morning News. We'll check a couple other ones real fast. Live updates. I don't think we have anything at all. Not yet. All right. One more check. There's probably going to be another hour before we get info. Let's see what we got. Woo! Sorry about that. That was loud. Okay, I don't think we have anything yet. There we go. All right, that's fine. But Paxton's going to win, and he will beat Tallarico by... he's going to beat Cornyn by about 6 points, and Paxton's going to beat Beto, not Beto, who's in O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator fake Mexican. He's going to beat Tallarico, low T Tallarico, I think by between 6 and 10 points, somewhere around there. Tallarico is so crazy radical. Another reminder, I will be on Newsmax live for a hit on the election results. So I will see you tomorrow at 11:15 Dallas-Fort Worth, Chicago time, 12:15 Eastern on Newsmax on the show called Bianca Across the Nation. All right, so I'll see you there tomorrow on that. Pizza Hut bringing back the 90s at classic restaurants. So they're iconic plastic red cups. Some of this stuff should never have been replaced. Iconic plastic red cups, love those things. The checkered tablecloths, the vinyl booths, Tiffany style lamps making a comeback. Absolutely what you should. Pizza Hut is awesome. I'm gonna go get some Pizza Hut tonight, maybe. Yum, Pizza Hut's parent company, published a list of 155 locations where they're gonna bring all the retro stuff back. And I don't know if I see any Texas ones. So there's 155 of them. Hopefully there'll be a whole bunch here. Texas has the most, 28 locations. There we go. Yay, I'm sure we'll see a whole bunch of them here in DFW. Cyprus Christian school coach fired for massaging a minor. Keep your freaking hands off of our kids, you sick groomers. Every day, everywhere, all the time we're seeing this stuff. It's unreal. All right, I will look forward to seeing you on Newsmax tomorrow at 11:15 Central, 12:15 Eastern. And then a podcast tomorrow all about the election and all sorts of other stuff. Tiffany Doolan, the disgraced former principal at Wylie East High School, who allowed these people who overlooked, according to multiple witnesses, while professional Islamic proselytizers were passing out Qurans, hijabs, and Sharia pamphlets. The hiding principal, here, remember this, when I exposed her as the hiding principal, I tried to ask her about it at the first school board meeting after this happened.
I'm just asking you a question. This is a public building. I can ask questions.
By the way, the lady barking at me is a security officer who works for the school district, barking at me like I'm trying to have an interview with Elon Musk on the street or something like that. It's the principal in a school district building. Absolutely, perfectly fine. Look at that. They're hiding. See them hiding? They're hiding.
Why are you hiding? This is, you're a public principal, Ms. Doolan. Ms. Doolan, why are you hiding? Did you allow those people in to preach Islam to your students? You love World Hijab Day. Remember that? You said no, you loved it. Do you still love World Hijab Day? Why are you afraid?
Tiffany Doolan resigned today, and it's amazing. There she was wearing, well, here's her, one of her pictures. She's no longer the principal of Wylie East as of today when she resigned. And here also is her wearing the hijabs over, let me see what that is. Here we go. 2 years in a row she wore hijabs, and on the lower left you'll see there, I loved this experience, all caps. Yesterday, a Muslim Student Association created an opportunity for everyone to experience the beauty of wearing a hijab on World Hijab Day, ! I loved, all caps, this experience. She did it 2 years in a row, and she put it on herself. And of course, if she was in Iran and she took it off, she'd be, horribly things, beaten, thrown in jail, or killed. But she's celebrating that. And then the next year, after 2 years in a row of doing that, she then was overlooking these proselytizers trying to convert our kids. And in fact, this is important if you never saw this, on the back of the Quran that she reportedly allowed to be passed out and was watching it happen, on the back of it is a Shahada card. See it? And it says, I bear witness there is no God worthy of worship except God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. And of course, they mean Allah. And they mentioned Allah up there too. So they were trying to convert our children. She was overlooking it. It's unbelievable. All right, I will see you tomorrow. And go Paxton, go Paxton. And by the way, go Paxton. This show is Croc Talk with Chris Croc, and it has been brought to you by IRSprob.com, IRSPROB.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, audits, and tax